In 1778, tension was tight in the British colonies in the Americas. The British troops had captured New York and were patrolling the streets. General George Washington and his Continental, or Rebel Army, were trying to find ways to retake New York, but they needed information. So they got enlistments from Benjamin Talmadge, Abraham Woodhull, Hale Brewster, Robert Townsend, Austin Roe, and even Anna Strong. They had created various techniques to avoid British detection and used them to casually help the Patriot cause. But before there was the Culper spies, there was a school teacher named Nathan Hale who volunteered to spy on Long Island for the Patriots in 1776. The British also had control of Long Island, which was part of New York. While Hale walked around, he took notes on the British fortifications and hid them in his shoe. He planned to deliver the notes to Washington so the Continentals could take back Long Island. But he was gullible, which led him to be captured by feared frontiersman Robert Rogers, who had him hanged. His last words were, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country," which inspired patriots to fight on. 1 year later, William Duer recommended Nathaniel Sackett to George Washington to become a spy master for the first Patriot civilian spy network with members not enlisted in any army. Other members of the network included John Clark, Silas Strong, Dragoon Officer Benjamin Talmadge, and Seaman Hale Brewster. Sackett would organize strategies, Clark and Strong would report on British movements in New York, and Brewster would deliver the information to Talmadge, who rode to Washington. But some of the missions failed, and Clark and Strong were discovered, so they had to stop spying. Soon Washington realized he needed to find new ways to protect his spies. Thanks to Benjamin Talmadge's success with the civilian network, Talmadge was asked by George Washington to form a new spy network. Known by loyalists who were loyal to the British throne as John Bolton, his job was to send information requests to Austin Roe, to send to Robert Townsend in invisible ink, and later deliver the information to Washington. He also created the code book that had numbers for words A to Z, and the invisible ink that the code was written in so that only people with a special mixture could uncover the code. Another spy, Robert Townsend, codenamed Sam Culper Jr., got most of the spy ring's information. He got his information by befriending British soldiers at his coffee house, but he also had a part-time job as a writer for the Royal Gazette. He wrote reports about British parties and got information from drunken soldiers. He also did interviews with officers for the Gazette. After that, he gave the information to Roe, which is hidden in a supply box. Roe then delivered the information to Abraham Woodhull, codenamed Sam Culper Sr. He had to wait until Anna Strong hung a black petticoat to know it was safe. Next to the coat, she hung handkerchiefs in a specific pattern to signal which cove Hale Brewster was hiding in. During the night, he rode to deliver the package to Brewster, who rode to Fairfield, Connecticut, to give it to Talmadge. Talmadge deciphered the code and rode to Washington to tell him the information. In conclusion, the Culper spy ring was an important asset to the Patriots because without their information, the Patriots might have lost some battles in and around New York that could have prevented the attack on Yorktown, which is known as the last battle of the American Revolution. Without that victory, Lord Cornwallis of the British Army could have helped crush the Americans. Their process was complicated but effective. They were never caught, and I think they are some of the best spies in history.